Nice to meet you, finally.
Well, the major challenge that we are facing today is, of course, the impact of climate change. In terms of other environmental crises, I think India is also growing in terms of population, so we have a large number of people. We feel that we have always learned from such partnerships and networks, and we see a lot of value in working together with different kinds of groups, and the same thing holds true for this particular engagement as well.
It gives us an opportunity to understand how it works there and then bring an Indian perspective to it. You don't have to make new things again, reinventing the wheel, as I call it. You don't have to keep doing new things, but add value to something that already exists.
Other benefits, the transfer of knowledge, transfer of skills among the agencies, and sharing the best experience of each other countries, which might be we haven't tried out that kind of experiences or technological experiences, which are mainly their successful experiences. We can adapt it, we can slightly modify, and which will benefit the whole society through this kind of interventions or partnerships.
I have been working with CEE for over 15 years now. And throughout this time, my major focus, which fits within the larger mandate of CEE, our mandate is basically education and communication for environment and sustainable development. Now, we use a lot of tools within education and communication in that mixed bag of too many tools. One tool is primarily on training and networking. And these are the two major fields that I look after in CEE. When I say networking, it means that we acknowledge that there are many people and institutes like us all over the world who are trying to achieve similar objectives, and it's nice to put our hands together and not reinvent the wheel. So we keep in touch with a lot of like-minded institutions, especially in Asia, because the context is very similar within Asia. But at the same time, we also keep connected to world outside Asia. So we have contact partners in Africa, Southern Africa and Europe, and in the US as well. Australia, of course, this is a new partnership, but we also have our own office, and we have several of other partners are there. And I think we are trying to utilize experiences and learnings that have already been made in Australia, adapt them for Indian context and Indian education system, and see can we modify some of those systems from Australia to fit better into India. So that is what we are really looking forward to, and I am hopeful, especially after today morning session, I'm hopeful that something concrete is going to come out. At least one major immediate action will come out, and I am also hopeful that a few offshoots will come out which we could follow up over the next 2 years or so.
Well, in future, what we would look at is, as we've always done, to work on a pilot, and this would be really like a pilot, but then also work with systems within the country. We don't lack good policies, we don't lack good initiatives, but what we lack is the cohesion and coherence, interconnectivity between a lot of implementation that happens. And that is where we would like to integrate this course into an institutional mechanism, into an existing teaching, learning, process. So that really helps getting it as part of something that's already happening, and it doesn't become a standalone. And then we can scale it up nationally.
It's not for us to come in and to be saying how things should be done. It was more a matter of undertaking a collaborative dialogue to understand where we could collaborate and work together. And that process was more, it was a personal process as well as a process about content. and once we kind of got to a point where we were on the same page and we kind of understood the motivations and of each party, then we really began to take some big steps and looking at the content with an understanding of where each other was coming from, what could be offered to it. So that was kind of a more technical conversation which happened in the afternoon, where we went down, got into detail about course content and how that related to sustainability and some of the programs which CEE, Creative Environment Australia, had created in Australia, which Euan had done a lot with working with electricians and saying, all right, there's a body of work in India and it's focused on the technical outputs of training students to become professional electricians, and it's based on a trade focus. But the idea was to say, well, how can we interact with the training of trade-focused peoples to be more aware of sustainability issues in their practice, and that for them to be able to conceptualise the issues and how that their profession can help influence Indian infrastructure and ways of being to create more sustainable outcomes.
After we reviewed the content and looked for opportunities within the existing syllabus for electricians, we identified a number of areas where we could include energy efficiency and some sustainability actions. And then, after the workshop, we went to visit the Industrial Training Institute at Gandhinagar, and there we met the director of the college, a number of the teachers and trainers, and had a look at the facilities where the training would take place.
If you do not control, then one day come, no petrol, no diesel. Water will be idle. Active fellow.
Yeah, look forward to working with you more in the future.
Knowledgeable.
Yeah, nice working with you. Same to you. Be in touch. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, to the end of the day, we had a rough outline of, looking at the Indian syllabus for electricians. Took that away with us, had a break, sleep and some food, and then came back the next day and really said, well, okay, if we are to try and influence the outputs of the syllabus, what's the best way in which we can engage within current processes to enable those outcomes to be realised? And it was a matter of articulating an objective about what we wanted to do and a process in the manner in which we could implement that process.
Because of the existing relationships and the networks that the Centre of Environmental Education has with the government department, which is the Gujarat Council for Vocational Training, and similar to a state government department in Australia to do with education and training. Because of their existing relationships, we were able to present and table the findings of our workshop to the director of the department, which was an amazing opportunity, and he was very enthusiastic and supportive of our endeavours, and is happy to support the next stages of the project, which we're very happy about.
I think the world also perceives a major challenge for us is the challenge of climate change and the emissions and the industrial growth. Being an Indian, I know that national level policies have already been framed on climate change. India has a very clear action plan, and an action plan which looks after both at mitigation as well as adaptation. So I'm very confident that as a country, we are on the right track when it comes to climate change, which I think the outside world sees as a problem with India currently, because we are growing up industrially very fast. Our population is increasing, our footprint is increasing.
Not because the government thinking is like, providing this technology or a package will help, but without the educations, that effort will not sustain.
It's really important to get ongoing funding as well, because it's great to understand what potential there might be, but really the opportunity to actually implement and deliver and to roll this out, there's amazing possibilities. So further support of this nature to kind of realise the potentials is really important.
working with the Centre of Environmental Education has been fantastic, both on a professional level. We had very complementary skills and experiences, and also at a personal level. I think we all got along very well. It was, yeah, it's been a fantastic experience.
So I think the best thing about these projects is just for people to come together to understand the issues from each other's perspective and come up with projects and solutions that incorporate people from all over the world, so that we can have a more cohesive approach, because it's a worldwide problem, it's not a local thing.